Only 4 episodes to go before we transition STEEPCAST into Riders Report. We are also recording this week on my birthday, so needless to say, I might have a beer or two in me. So let's see if I can make it to the end of this episode. Here we go! It's STEEPCAST, episode 46.
And the chocolate is hot. STEEPCAST reporting to you live from the top of Mount Blanc. Snow missed me, making you miss me. Cause I'm hucking it up 12, I throw it into a misty.
We hosted the TFG Slopestyle finals this weekend on our channel. So if you haven't, go watch that video right now because the top runs were insane. We saw so many tricks that I did not think were possible in this game. So congrats to everyone who entered, all 26 riders, and of course congrats to our top 10 finalists and our champions.
Congratulations to everyone who competed indeed. We will be coming back to the TFG Slopestyle in the main topic this week, where we're going to discuss, well, the entire competition. There's a whole lot to break down in this one. Coming up next in the land of Tartiflette Games, the TFG Invitational will be dropping sometime in mid-January of next year, and it's going to feature the top 10 riders from the first season of the Tartiflette Games. This invitational is going to be a little different than every other TFG event you have seen so far. It is going to combine not 1, not 2, but 3 different events into one massive invitational. So be looking out for that. We are going to be releasing news and updates on that the closer we get to that January release. Stay tuned. The Tartiflette Games is not going anywhere. We are just taking some time to give you guys one of the best videos in Steep history. We really think we can get there, and we can't wait for you guys to see what we come up with.
And finally, next week we should be seeing another Riders Republic developers blog. So of course, stay tuned on our channel. We will have a video talking about that blog as soon as it's released. And then we will be discussing our thoughts of it on next week's STEEPCAST.
Oh, we're done with news. All right, it's time for the Reddit Roundup! Woo!
First on the Reddit Roundup this week, we have a cross post from Hat Packets, and it is the lake at Lake Louise in Canada. Froze over this weekend and flash froze, which gives you a crystal clear view of the water below. One of the prettiest places in the world. Would make a great location for some future Riders Republic DLC. Maybe we'll get the Rockies in the Canadian side of the border.
Up next, you already know what time it is. It's time for some unpen madness. Shooting himself off and planting on that huge timber, pulling off a gorgeous Trip Cork 16? Right? I guess. Jeez, oh man. All I know, he skimmed that tree, planted on that log, and managed to give us something beautiful.
Third, we've got a clip from Ski Maniac that he took 2 hours trying to nail a switch backy and just dusting that knuckle off of the guardrail and then through the snow. You can't get much closer than that without totally wiping out, and I wonder if we'll see that in the weekly challenge with drags.
Coming up next, we have one of the best photographers in the business. It's Reddit Tom 1, hitting us with some sexy Yeti photo shoot pictures. I absolutely geeked over these pictures over the weekend. I mean, he just got everything right. Mitch, you can go ahead and switch it to the next picture. I mean, that first one was wonderful with the sun coming in from the background. This one, little bit of camouflage going on there, but you're still able to pick the Yeti out, focusing on that gorgeous backdrop. And then finally wrapping it up with this insane lens blur. I love the hyper focus on the Yeti right on the rocks there with that gorgeous Yes board. I also ride a Yes board. Very, very nice photo set, Reddit Tom.
And finally, we have some transfer action from Balls Even in one of the terrain parks in Japan. Going huge off of the first kicker and lands on the tree. And then spins out massively, hits the second jump, pulling triple backflip, landing switch, and one more. geez, oh man, he's landing these so cleanly. Where was this man in TFG?
Thank you, as always, to everyone keeping it fresh over there on r/Steep. We love our Reddit family, and we hope that all of you guys can find a home over on Nick and Mitch as well. Not to mention, balls even, please submit to Tartiflet Games. All right, that's it. Let's head over to the main topic. Right off the bat, want to give a huge shout out to our podium, especially the Space Clump 360, pulling it out with mind-blowing tricks. I mean, we will get to this. We have to cover the entire board, of course, and we will, but we are going to have to focus on whatever the hell Space Clump gave to us this weekend.
Yeah, I think you already named the trick in Discord, the Space Bonk. You're not going to get much better than that. I remember watching his run for the very first time and just getting to that third feature set and being like, a rail tap, and then a second rail tap, and then I was like, this guy's going to do well. And then he pulls off that on the second jump going into the camera tower and then landing on the fence and doing it so cleanly. I just can't imagine how many takes it took to get all of that in a single run, but you can tell that he planned out doing all of those tricks and then put in the work to get it on camera.
And that aspect of it is still terrifying to me. The fact that people can tech these runs so precisely that they can do something like that and stray out of the norm, out of what the game is trying to redirect you to doing, and pull something off that is that beautiful, that technical, just that awe-inspiring. I mean, seriously, I rarely have my jaw drop when I'm watching Steep videos. Of course, I freak out. Of course, I get excited, but nothing has come close to a Space Bonk where I literally sat there and was silent. The take that we did the first time was non-existent. We did not use it for the actual event because I had to go back and re-record because realized that I was just silent the whole time during my first watch through. I mean, and it was also super interesting to see the Space Clump pull off something like that, especially after we saw Bueller kind of fumble and, lean off of the track for just a split second. He did recover, and I really think his creativity was there full-heartedly. I really loved his entire run, but to have that run and then to see the Space Clump come out, pull off something else where you think he's just going to launch himself off of the entire map, and then he pulls off a bonk on the camera tower. I mean, this event was just made for that one trick. I'm still blown away. I am still at a loss for words.
And there were a ton of tricks like that too. I think Space had the most and then still had a very clean run and a lot of variety in there. But we had It's the Mort doing rail taps. We had Envy, I believe, going with a flip off of that very first feature, a little bit of a wall ride onto the rail, and just a ton of creativity out there on the course. And like you said, I think Bueller had a great idea, kind of going off to the side, jumping back on. It just hurt a little bit in the flow score and the impression.
Yeah.
It broke it up a little bit. Sometimes you really want to see just a nice, smooth run from start to finish. No real stumbles, no shaky landings, and no having to come to a complete stop. Speed checking's all right if you're trying to slow down a little bit, but if you're kind of jerking around, it's not going to go so well.
Right, absolutely. I also want to highlight the second feature. I mean, you look at these scores here, 8.6, 9, 9.3, 8, 9.3, 8.5, 8.6, 8.8, 7.8, 8.3. Feature number 2, especially that low to high rail transfer, seemed to be the main focus from all of our competitors. Do you have an explanation for this? I mean, is this a routine thing that people do on this slopestyle course specifically, or was this just coincidence that a ton of people were going from low to high on that transfer to get that tap on that high rail before they transferred off and moved on to feature 3?
Yeah, I think you hit it with the low to high transfer. You had people going for the rail tap there. It's the more, I believe someone else, either Lucas or Pollo Loco, went for a rail tap at that section because there's the one rail setting up higher than the others. And then you had someone like STEEPCAST Germany who went low and then all the way across to a high rail, but kept low the entire time. I'm still not sure how he didn't just, gravitate to that first rail he went over. So there was a lot of different opportunities you could take on that section, which I think led to some higher scores.
And this is totally different from the last slopestyle event that you and I covered for Road to the Olympics, where all of the competitors were taking their time on all of the rails, speed checking themselves, hitting the brakes a bit before they hit every single rail to maximize their in-game scores. I really think a competition like TFG, where it's being scored outside of the game scoring, allows for the creativity, allows for like a STEEPCAST Germany to just pogo stick around these rails, make an incredible run that leaves the entire community speechless.
And of course, that's the reason we've been doing the TFG events in this style. We did start off in our very first events 3 years ago, going off of the scores that were in the game. And in order to make that interesting, we had to have a person record their run live with us watching them in the game, so that if they wiped out on one of their 3 takes, they would get a 0. So we had to put some pressure on that way. Now that we're able to have so many wonderful volunteer judges score these runs and, give scores to each feature to different categories, it allows so much more creativity, and I really think we see some of the best clips rise to the top.
Speaking of scoring, let's take a look at our heat map. Let's see which features were hot, which features were not, and just the overall scoring of this event.
Right now you'll be seeing a couple different graphs, so for right now I'll be talking about just the finals, but the column on the left that's called initial ranking was when we judged everyone's runs and compared them against each other. And then the second one that you see just for the finalists, the total, was the total score that you actually saw in the video. So we'll leave that number up. But in the finals, you can see Space Clump just blew it away compared to everyone else. He finished, 6 points higher, 7 points, 5 points higher?
Yeah, you got it.
Not good at math. 5 points higher than second place, just because of how creative he went with that. And then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, they were all pretty close after that. The color slowly fades away from then on out.
Well, and then what's also interesting about this event is Mitch devised a whole new system of scoring to make it a little faster for us to decide where the field lands before we actually get into our precision scores for each feature. So Mitch, if you want to explain the 4-point system that everyone, all 26 riders went through, that heat map is coming up, I am sure. Mitch, take it away. You're much better at this than I am.
This has to do with the initial ranking column that you can see, and we came up with this to test it out because a few weeks ago in STEEPCAST, one of the questions was, what are you going to do when you get 100 submissions, 200 submissions, 500 submissions, who knows, thousands, when Riders Republic comes out and we host these events? And so this is our first step to try and work with that. If we are going to get 100 submissions, it's going to take a lot of time to judge that. And in our previous event, specifically the Snowboard Knucklehuck, we had 40 some riders, I think 41 riders, 3 runs each, so 120 runs. And each judge ranked each of those runs on creativity, the technicality, and the execution. So that took a ton of time. I think it took us 2 weeks to get through just that initial judging. So this initial ranking, something we're testing out. We'll see what you guys think too, how the overall podium worked out. But we had our judges go through and rank each video just on a scale of 1 to 4. 1 should be a finalist. They should be in the top 3 in the podium, maybe the top 5, but 1, you 100% deserve to be in the finals. 2, you could be in the finals. You're not, the best of the best, but you're still probably going to be in the top 10, maybe top 15 riders. Then 3 might not be in the finals, so you're sitting somewhere around 10 to 20 to 30, and then 4 is just doesn't deserve to be in the finals, in the top 10. Could still be a good run, but just doesn't compare to, the best runs we've been seeing so far. Once every judge just ranks at 1 to 4, I average out those scores. So in this event specifically, funnily enough, we saw 3 runs where the initial ranking from each judge was a 1. So only 3 people got perfect ones, and that was our podium. And then after that, we had a 1.7, so it averaged out a little bit. Then we had quite a few 2s, quite a few 2.3s, 2.7, 3, 3.7. So we took the average and we were able to pick out a top 10 pretty easily. So this was just a test run of the system. The idea would be in Riders Republic, if we're getting 100 submissions or more, each video can just be ranked on a 1 to 4, just to quick filter out the best of the best. It might also allow us to use more judges, but they might not have to watch all of the runs. We could have one judge watch 20 videos each and then bring in a couple different volunteers and then make sure that each run has been judged 2 or 3 times so we can get an average from it. But it's just something that we started coming up with to make sure that we can still watch everyone's runs and judge everyone's runs so that we're not just getting a couple hundred submissions looking for the popular names and then picking them. We want to be picking the best of the best, and I think if you start getting a 1 in that initial ranking, then we know that that video should be in the finals. Also curious to hear what you guys think. If we got it right, if we got it wrong, if we got it mostly right, somewhat right, whatever you think, just so we can maybe make some tweaks to the system.
Yeah, we strongly encourage every one of you to go back and rewatch the qualifiers, rewatch the finals, and give us your honest opinions of how we did with this judging system. I mean, I really think this scoring system simplified it, made the entire judging system easier. I know this process we have been wrestling with for the entire first season of TFG, how to make it as fair as possible. And I think this is a great way to simplify and speed up that process while still maintaining complete neutrality from, like you said, our veterans and our newcomers. And all of our competitions in Riders Republic, I just want to say, it's not if we get 100, it's when we get 100. When we get 200 submissions, that's when this system is going to really come into play. But of course, the entirety of the Tartiflette games is community driven, so we need to hear your opinions on how this works so we can continue to give you the best of the best. Mitch, we also have to shamelessly brag. I mean, something incredible happened today while we were filming. November 16th, 2020. Remember that date because that was the date we were featured on the X Games YouTube page community tab.
Yeah, we were already freaking out because they shared the Slopestyle on their story on Saturday, and then they commented on the video earlier this afternoon at like noon or something. Just so awesome. Really cool to see that they're watching. But then when we sat down to record, we were going through our video analytics to, discuss some things, have a little meeting, figure out what worked, how many views we're at, how that compares, and we were up like 500 views from earlier today. We were at like 200 this morning or 270 this morning. We were up to like 700. I had no idea why. We didn't share it anywhere. No one else really posted about it that we knew. So we saw it was like growing ever since 12 o'clock. And I remembered that's right around when the X Games commented on the video. So I went to their YouTube page and it was on their community tab. So they can post some stuff. They do some polls and share videos that aren't theirs but are X Games type things. So a big thank you to the X Games for sharing this video. You guys know there will be more. We can't wait to see these events in Riders Republic because I know we're going to get a ton of submissions and this thing is going to go huge. But before we get there, we also have the Invitational in January, which we want to be the largest event Steep has ever seen.
Yeah, I said it before and I'll say it again. We cannot wait to show you guys what we are putting together, what we're cooking up for the finale of Season 1, our quasi goodbye to Steep. We can't wait to show you that event in January, but for now, make sure you guys shout out the X Games. Clearly, someone over there is taking an interest in esports, specifically our game and our community. So get after it. Let them know that we're here. Just one more giant thank you to everyone who submitted to the ski Slopestyle. Without you guys, we would have nothing to put together. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
The topic for this week's weekly challenge was drags, and yet again we got quite a few submissions from the usual suspects, so we'll be showing them all. But check out these wicked drags from Steepest Legend, the Space Clump 360, Flair, Unpen, and Lucas.
Thank you to everyone who submitted for this week's weekly challenge, Drags. Some serious work this week. Up next, we have Shadows. So please send us your pictures and videos of shadows.
And the topic for the following week comes from Kerr, and it's going to be extreme. So run with that topic, and you can submit it in our Discord weekly challenge submission channel. We have two questions this week, both from the Steepest Legend, and the first one is, what is your favorite space movie?
I don't have to take a lot of time. This one's easy. Spaceballs.
Oh, such a classic, man. That's a great one. I was going to say, other than the Space Clump 360's Slopestyle run, my favorite space movie is Interstellar. Just killer soundtrack and a really cool movie.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one as well. Surprised neither one of us said Star Wars. I mean, I think Star Wars is in a totally different category. It's not one of my favorite movies, but it's just like a legacy favorite movie. You know? Like, of course I love Star Wars, but let's focus on something else.
Agreed. And his second question was, would you rather have a singing voice like Freddie Mercury, rapping skills like Eminem, or EDM skills like Alan Walker?
Who the hell's Alan Walker?
He's apparently super famous.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now. I'm still gonna have to go with singing voice like Freddie Mercury. I am a singer on the side, and yeah, I would just love for my singing voice to have the same kind of power that Freddie's had. No one can compare, no one ever will compare. He is a legend, and I could only hope to one day sound a tiny percent like Freddie Mercury. I can already rap as fast as Eminem. I mean, come on now.
Ooh, I think we're gonna need evidence of that claim at some point, but yeah, I'd agree. Freddie Mercury just unmatched in the voice department, being able to belt out any song like he could and basically just bring the whole world together. I think he's just universally known, and you know, when he's performing at Live Aid, everyone's watching, so being able to sing like that would be incredible. Wait, when did Eminem join this Discord call?
I mean, you assuming I'm a human? Well, I already messed up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we have some great content coming up like the developers blog. It should be out next Monday. We also have STEEPCAST every Wednesday until that turns into the Riders Report. You can join our Discord channel to chat with a whole bunch of other people about Steep and other video games. Follow us on Twitter at Nick or Mitch, on Instagram at Nick and Mitch YT, and we also have a link tree that Nick's been adding random stuff to, so if we're on the internet, you can find it there.
All right, thank you so much for sticking around for episode 46 of the STEEPcast. Like we said, only 4 more to go before we make that huge jump to the Riders Report. All right, we'll see you guys next week. I am 1 year closer to death.
And I'm Mitch.
Yup, and we'll see yins on the slopes.